Okay, we're about 2 minutes past 6. We have about 70 people in. I'm going to ask some members of the team to keep an eye on to admit any people joining the conversation. First off, I'd like to offer a huge welcome to all of you that have joined us this evening. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Brandon Kirby. I am the Director of Sales, Marketing, and Admissions for all of our executive education offerings, including our non-degree open programs, as well as our MBA programs. So first off, I would like to thank you all for taking time out of your evening to be with us. I know that like many of you, you're probably on calls all day. So sometimes the last thing you want to do after the end of a long day behind a screen is sit in front of a screen again. So hopefully tonight we can offer a good departure maybe from the meetings that you might be sitting in during the day. So first off, welcome. I'm going to start to share my screen here real fast, if you give me just a moment to do so. Now, typically, this is the last event on the admissions calendar. And this is something that we do typically at the Euromast, which I have on screen here. And it's probably for us one of my most favorite events of the year because it allows us as the admissions team, because you have to realize that we interview and speak with you so much throughout the year, especially Vasilis, Lita, and Noemi. And we start to sort of earmark like, oh, I can't wait for this person to be introduced to this person. I can't wait for that person to meet that person. And this is kind of one of the first opportunities that we have to bring everyone together. So for me, it's really one of our favorite events. Now, at the same time, it's probably one of our favorite events because it includes fried food and drinks usually. So I'd be lying if I didn't at least mention that a little bit as well. So welcome. So today's agenda, what are we going to cover today? We scheduled the call for about an hour and a half, but our intent is to not take up all of that time. Although if we need to, we absolutely will, but we also want to be respectful of your time and what you might have going on in your life. So we're going to have a quick introduction as I'm doing now, a welcome from our recently appointed Dean, Nicola Klein, and also a welcome from the program office. After that, we're going to share what the class profile looks like as of today. I actually had to update it about 10 minutes before this presentation, such as things go this time of year as we receive more registrations. And then what we wanted to do, because a big part of this event normally is bringing you all together, and we really stand on the outside. We don't, we're really there just to welcome you and to make sure you have everything you need. But really this event is more about getting to know who else is going to be in the program. You're going to be spending a significant amount of time with many of the people on this call over the coming 21 months, or 22 months, excuse me. And so it's really critical that you get a chance to meet with each other. So we're going to break out into groups, and then we'll come back and share some stuff. We'll provide some more information on that in a little bit. And then finally, we'll close out with some programmatic information and some updates there. So real quick, I've introduced myself. We also have An van Dam, who's the Director of Program Operations. I've already briefly introduced Nicola, who will be stepping up to the microphone here in just a moment. Also on the call today, we have Alina, Sonia, and Carol, who are also representatives of the Programs Office from the Executive MBA. You will become very familiar with them. They will be your go-to resources throughout your time in the program. They are your spirit guides. They help you through the good, the bad, the ugly, and they do a really fantastic job. They will be your best friends once you're in the program. I can assure you of that. Just some housekeeping things. We do ask that you keep your microphone on mute since this is a meeting setup and not a webinar setup. If you do have questions, please feel free to put them in chat. We have quite a number of you. Let me see how many we have. We have 74 people in the room. So it just makes it easier to keep everything in chat. We have several people available to answer questions in chat. We can also answer it live as well. When you do have questions, try to keep them rather broad, not necessarily specific to a situation that you might be facing. We're more than happy to address those questions. However, most likely better to do it at a later time. The last thing is we will be recording today, although the breakout rooms themselves will not be recorded for those people who are unable to join this evening. And we edit out any GDPR, names and things like that. So it's really just the presentation that I'm giving to you now. We'll record that and we'll make that recording available to everyone after the presentation. So, without further ado, I think we should get started. Nicola, this is normally, again, where I would bring you into the conversation and introduce you to everyone. I'd love for you to say hello, give us some thoughts, kind of raise your virtual glass, so to speak, and some words from you would be greatly appreciated.
Brendan, thank you. It's very special to be here. I'm sure, like all of you, I wish it was in person. And I did have a think to myself as I was coming into my office at home, should I be bringing in a glass of wine? Because it's not often I have an evening meeting where I should. But I thought, no, let me not do this. But I'm really excited to be here today. And I'm particularly excited as this will be my first intake that I'll be welcoming at RSM in academic programs. And so that's special for me. I joined the school as Dean of Executive Education. So just as Brandon looks after marketing, sales, and admissions for open programs, as well as degree programs, my responsibility is across all of our programs that include, obviously, our MBAs, flagship programs, and then customized and open programs. So it's very exciting for me to be here today. But the most exciting thing is engaging with you. So let me first start off by saying sincere congratulations to all of you who've been accepted onto this program. We know it's a lot of work putting in these applications. We think it's very important to make sure that everybody who comes on an MBA at our school is going to benefit from that MBA, is going to not only be able to learn, but also be able to share, is going to have the right amount of experience, is going to have the right mindset. And we are absolutely delighted with the cohort we've admitted to date. To those of you who are nearing completion, I'm looking forward to seeing you on that final list, and I'm really delighted that you could be here. I think it's the most remarkable time to be studying right now. And so, as much as I want to congratulate you for coming in through the gateway, the RSM gateway this evening, what I want to do is also compliment you on your timing, because I think for some, they may be sitting here going, a lot of uncertainty in the world. Not sure it's the best time to be doing my EMBA. I've always found, and I've been in this MBA game now for over 25 years, I have found that the students that benefit the most from an MBA are the ones that study in times of change. And I think if we just have to look back at our world, and we have to look beyond even COVID, but to look at how much is changing and the impact that that's having on our personal lives, on our business lives, on our businesses, what's playing out at country level. It's an incredible time to be sense-making. It's an incredible time to be coming together. Yes, there are people who are going to be trying to sense-make on their own. We've seen learning go online, and in some cases, I think it's quite a lonely environment to be in. What I think is so critical about the MBA, and it's a question we always say, is who's going to be in the room? So who's in the room? And who's in the room with you? Because the quality of the interactions and the engagements that you'll have with faculty are one thing. But actually, what's going to define this experience for all of you is going to be the connections that you can make with the individuals who are in your cohort, who are in your class, who are going to be your partners in trying to understand a changing world, in trying to also help you sense make, and ultimately in being part of making your future more successful. So today's a really important time. It's a day when you're going to forget most of what I've said or what Brandon said, but what you are going to remember is you're going to look back on today, and sadly you won't remember the great wine or the fried food. What you are going to remember is, I remember meeting that person on the very first day we had this engagement. And this question of how we connect and how quickly we can get up to speed with authentic conversations, with making sure that we understand we're not just here to try and engage with a body of knowledge, but ultimately we're here to make sure that we're building a community of learners together who will be together with you for a long time after you actually finish the MBA. So firstly, tonight is really about saying congratulations to all of you. Thank you for choosing our school. We're very excited to be meeting you, and I'm really looking forward to meeting you all in person in the new year. But also it's to wish you a wonderful journey and to say, don't waste a moment of it. It's going to be a long journey. It's going to be tough. But in some ways, it's going to be over quicker than you remember. So please use every opportunity, and looking forward to seeing you all get to know each other and looking forward to meeting you. Brandon, that's really what I wanted to emphasize. So I think I'm going to pass that baton back to you. And you're on mute.
Huge faux pas. I never mute myself during these things, but I did tonight. I'm losing my touch, Nicola. You're not going to get away without at least one question, though. I have to, whenever I have you in these situations, I always like to, challenge you. I won't make it about geopolitics or anything else. I'll give you maybe a softball, so to speak. So you
can ask me anything, Brandon. Nothing's off limits.
Well, I'll take that to the chat. Maybe the chat can come up with something good while we wait. No different than a lot of the individuals on the call this evening who are kind of new to RSM. You've recently joined our family here at RSM. What are some initial impressions that you've taken from the school? I mean, what stands out to you as sort of, when you think about RSM, and what sort of values or words or things stand out for you, or things have you noticed in your time with us? I would just be curious, because again, there's some similarity between you and the audience in that regard.
It's been a remarkable time, because to join an organization when I've had a small window to meet most of my colleagues face to face, but certainly not all of them. And obviously, like so many of you on the call today, I've gone straight into Zoom meetings and team meetings and having those kind of engagements. So it's what I call my 2D world, because I think when you meet people in 3D, you get to learn faster. So I've been quite frustrated sometimes because I'm missing out on the passage conversation, the unplanned, what's going on in your world. But what has shone through is, and the word I would use here, I expected excellence in joining RSM. It was, if we look at the ranking of the university, if we look at EUR's, Erasmus's traditions, if we look at the broader RSM, so we sit within a part of RSM that focuses on private education, but I also sit on the executive board of the public side of RSM. And so excellence was just a given. And I think for anybody who chooses RSM, you expect that. What has bowled me away is the level of care and the care from our BV team. It's been in some ways an agonizing year and a year of change, because, we make life, any learning, any meaningful experience that is really going to be transformative involves a level of personal discomfort. You can't go through a transformative experience without some level of being uncomfortable. And typically, I think an MBA is no different. There are incredible ups, there are incredible downs. But as you confront yourself, as you confront what you thought you knew, and then you realize you didn't really know it, as you make judgments about people when you first meet them, as you will tonight, and then you suddenly realize that actually 6 months down the line, they're totally different. It's not an easy road, and we hold people to high standards. And so what's been especially difficult this year is watching the difficulties that our students have gone through to navigate this online environment, and the uncertainty and the pain. Most people we know have lost somebody that they know that is dear to them from this ghastly pandemic. And what has just shone through to me unbelievably is the level of care. Now, it has to be in an academic institution. I'm not saying that people are pushovers. And when we say that, the team will become your best friends, they're going to do what's best for that group. You should have seen me actually this evening. There was somebody who decided to take off their mask for a moment. And I was like, please put on your mask. We are committed to safety in this school. So, that doesn't mean that we're always nice. But I think what we're always doing is looking out for the safety of the group. And so that's what I would say has really struck me is, yes, there's a collegiality in the school and a well-defined sort of what I would call DNA. You can't offer a great student experience if you don't have a great culture inside your organization. But the teams that I've engaged with and the amount of care that is given to our students, and, an understanding of, you are postgraduate students, you have busy lives, we get where you're coming from. I did the same. I did an EMBA myself. It's not an easy ride, but I'm really comfortable, and I know going into next year that we won't always get it right. You can never get everything right in a service experience, but I do know that people will care whether we're getting it right or not, and if we're not, we'll work to fix it. So that's been the most important thing for me.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing that. So I'll let you sort of fade back into the audience there for a moment, and briefly also want to ask kind of a quick toast on behalf of the program office from EMBA. And I'd like to ask the program director, An van Dam, and as well as the associate director, Alina, to come and just say a few brief words. An, if you're there, would you mind saying hello?
Hello. So for me, this is also a really cool moment because I don't always, or actually I have never joined this particular Drinks with the Deans event because of the location that it's always at the Euromast in Rotterdam. I'm terribly afraid of heights. So I can't get myself to get to come and join you on the top of that. So for me, this is a very special moment to kind of join you here. So it's really great to see you all. I'm really looking forward for you to start your journeys with us. It's the big J word. I think, it's been mentioned before, I'm an alumnus myself of the One MBA program. And one of the things that it did for me is when I walked into that room the first time, and hopefully something similar will happen to you come January. For me, it felt like somebody had switched on the lights in my dusty attic head, kind of removed some of the cobwebs. And I was just so inspired by the connections that you were making and the things that you were learning and the journey that you then go on. It is a very strong roller coaster, I will say, and under kind of maybe COVID and Corona conditions, even more so than normal. But it's a fantastic and worthwhile experience that I hope that, you will all kind of go through and take away. It can be at times quite uncomfortable, but it's generally one that induces a lot of personal growth, and I hope that's what you're all after. And we are your guides in this. So myself and then Alina, who will say hello to you at a certain point soon, Sonia, Carol, and the other people that, in the teams, not just in the program teams, but also in our facilities teams, our IT services. We are your guides and your backbone into kind of supporting you in this experience. And we really look forward to doing this with you. So Alina, if you wouldn't mind saying hello.
Thank you, Anne. So, hello everyone and welcome. I'm very, very pleased and happy to see you in this very unusual setting indeed, because I was a few times already at the Dean's Drink in Euromast, and it's a very different experience, of course, to this one. But I think what we are doing here now, it very much fits 2020. That's basically the reality we are in. So there is not much else that is possible. But nevertheless, I'm actually very, very pleased to also, because I know that in January, we actually are going to see each other. So what Nicola and Anne already said, it's going to be a transformative experience. It's going to be absolutely a year or 2 years of change for you guys. But on the other hand, you also have a very different experience to all the classes before you, because nobody ever had any classes before that we organized in a cinema. So that is also something to be mindful of, that this experience that you are going to have will have a lot of elements of fun. It will be challenging. It will be difficult, of course, in terms of content, what you need, in terms of what you need to learn also. But I'm sure we're going to have a lot of fun moments because of this current situation we are dealing with. So I'm really very, very much looking forward to meeting you all in January in a face-to-face setting and having a conversation, even if it's a short conversation with each of you in person.
That's great.
We have two more colleagues of mine, which is Carol and Sonia. I don't know if they are willing to say also hello. The team is a little bit bigger, but tonight we have two. So, Carol?
Yeah, hi. So, hello, everyone. Again, the preparations are going on furiously behind the scenes, and we're all so excited that you're going to be with us. I'm basically your communication point, along with program managers within the EMBA program office. We're here to guide you through, to help you step by step. That's a big part of our job. We also want to get to know you very well, and feel free to come to our office anytime too, as well, when you're there on the EMBA weekends. So I'm going to keep it short because I'm going to do some networking with you in the breakout rooms, I think, in the near future in this call. And I'll hand it over to my other colleague, Sonia, if she's there.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to RSM and to our EMBA program. I look forward to meeting all of you in person. The virtual world is something that has been something that we've gotten used to over the last basically 9-10 months, but it still doesn't replace the face-to-face environment and the interactions that we will have with each other during the next 2 years. So I look forward to meeting you all face-to-face in January, and welcome again, and enjoy the learning journey. It's going to be interesting.
Yes, it is. It is always interesting, no matter what. So thank you all for giving a good warm welcome to everyone. We'll keep on moving here. So who are you? I think that's one of the first questions I think many of you might have is, well, who's on this call? Who can I expect to be in the class? What do things look like? So let's do it. So as of today, we have 71 students registered, and we expect around 100 to 105. Now, for any of you who is wondering, this is exactly normal. This is the sort of pace, if you will, that we're always on, regardless of the year. As a matter of fact, I remember when I first started at RSM, I started very late in the year. I started in November in 2016. And I remember getting the first numbers because, of course, a big part of my role is to lead the team that's responsible for the sales and for recruitment and admissions. So I was scared to death because we were sitting on, 65 students or whatever it was. And I remember being scared to have to go into the dean's office to share that the program starts in 2 months and we only have 65 students. And I remember going in and sharing this, and everyone starts laughing and they're like, don't worry, everyone comes late. Sure enough, that's what happens every year. So we currently have 71 students. We are expecting around 100 to 105. The average age is 36 this year, which is up by 1 year over last year. Last year's average was 35. There's about 11 years of work experience throughout. And then we also have 22 nationalities with a 60-40 international Dutch mix. And about 30% of you are going to be businesswomen or women in the program. That might go up just a little bit depending on what the last sort of registrations look like, but we'll have a good representation in the program. Typically I share companies, but being that we're going to start getting to some networking here in just a moment, I'm going to sort of leave that out. But we're very pleased with who we have coming into the program. It's a very diverse group, as you'll find out here in just a few moments. And I think, I was speaking with Lita, Vasilis, and Noemi ahead of this call, and they were all excited, again, to get everyone in the room together so that you can meet one another. So with that in mind, I think we should move into the next section of tonight's gathering, and that's getting to know each other. And for just a moment, I'm going to hand the microphone over to Lita to kind of walk us through this section. So Lita, go right ahead, and I'm going to start doing what I need to do here.
Indeed. So a warm welcome from me as well. It's a big pleasure for us in admissions to be seeing you together in the same room today. We've been talking for days and weeks and months and years even. So this is a particularly exciting time. What we're going to do now is that we're going to help you learn more about each other, get you introduced to each other. It's sort of a first project, if you will, of your executive MBA. So we are going to go into breakout rooms. We would like you to share with each other your name, where you work, what kind of industry, and the reason that you're pursuing an MBA. There will be a member of RSM present in each breakout room, but we would like you to elect a representative from the students, from the candidates' body, to take notes and share back with a broader group what they learned during that 15-minute session. Please don't ask all your questions. Actually, don't ask questions about the program in the breakout room if possible, because we would like to address them when we're all back together in the general room. So, Brandon, would you like another minute? Do you think we're ready
keep going. We have a lot of people, and because I have to do things a certain way, I'm almost done though. So give me just maybe another minute or two. You can ad lib for a moment.
Yes, that's great. So yes, for us that we've been working in the background, getting you all admitted into the program is an exciting time because you do really represent very diverse industries and backgrounds. I've told many of you, and I'll say it again, that we have people this year not only from the corporate world representing different functions and industries, but also people working in non-corporate functions, entrepreneurs, people working in international organizations, in public office, people that are considering starting up their own businesses, doctors, and more atypical profiles that I hope that you will find out during the breakout sessions.
Almost there.
You may think, no, it's okay. I have. Oh, don't get me going. It's a pleasure indeed. So you may think that the reason that you're pursuing an MBA is similar, and to one extent it will be similar. You may share certain goals, but you may be surprised that people in your room have slightly different objectives compared to the ones that brought you here today with us. So I think that's a very interesting question indeed to ask. Why is someone pursuing an MBA? And while we're waiting, I think it's a nice opportunity for also my colleagues Vasilis and Noemi to also say hi if they'd like, because I know that they haven't done already. So Vasilis, would you like to also say hi to the group?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Lida. So hello to everyone from my side as well. I think quite a few of you have met me virtually because I always have the pleasure every year to interview quite a few of the candidates. So welcome tonight in our virtual meeting. So great pleasure to see you all in this setting. I'll be more than happy also to be in one of the rooms with some of you in a bit, just to hear your stories, maybe from some people. Once again, apologies for this, but so yeah, great to be here. So thank you so much.
Noemi?
Yes, thank you, Lida, and thank you, Vasilis. So good evening, everyone. I'm glad to see that you all came tonight for this session. I've been talking with all of you, I think, or virtually, of course. I hope you enjoyed the networking session with your mates, and yeah, it's great to see you here, and welcome.
So Brandon, I think we're good to go, right? So see you in a while then.
Yes, indeed we are. So I'm going to assign everyone off to a room. Your first project, if you will, your first assignment is, as Lita said, to pick someone to represent the group and to just take a few notes on some companies or industries people are working in and a few of the reasons why you're doing the MBA. These are typical conversations that normally happen or do happen at the Drinks with the Dean session anyway. And then I'm going to call in, maybe not all, but a good number of the rooms when we come back just to share, what are some companies, what are the reasons why people are doing the MBA. So I'm going to assign the rooms. I'll let you know when we have about, 2 minutes left so you know to wrap it up. But your first mission is to figure out who's going to be, representing the group. And then the second thing is to cover the 3 things that we've asked you to do here. So I'm going to put the rooms out and yeah, let's do it. Well, we have everyone back. We were talking with team number 9, if I'm not mistaken, because they came back first. Unfortunately, there is no prize for that, but that's why we were also kind of speaking with them to learn a little bit more about them. So what I'd like to do for a few minutes here, we probably won't be able to get to all teams in the interest of time, but I do want to go through and just sort of hear back from the group or groups to hear, who's in the room. And maybe what Team 9 won is that they won the right to go first since they came back first. So I will ask the designated team leader, and hopefully that wasn't too challenging for everyone to designate a team leader. For the designated team leader for Team 9, just let us know, a few of the companies people are from and what were some of the reasons why people were doing an MBA.
Yeah, very good. So I made a note of everybody, and I must say that I'm really impressed by how diverse the group is. So we had people calling in from Dubai, from Italy, it's quite broad. So we have people from the food production, so the pig industry. We have people from the banking, Formula One, people with a legal background, so it's quite diverse. If you look at the reasons, I think for a lot of people, it's really to strengthen their base, their marketing skills, their leadership skills. People want to meet other people from different cultures. So that is really a lot. Really, people want to go back to their roots to see, okay, what is my purpose, and what can I bring to my company or the organization I'm with. So that is really coming back. So I think, that's a bit it. Commercial people, finance people, legal people, branding people, we have it all in.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing. Let's go in no particular order. Team 4. Who is the representative for Team 4? Take yourself off mute, introduce yourself, and tell us a little bit about the team that you were assigned to.
All right, that's me. So my name is Svetlana Smolina, and I was taking the notes for the group 4. This is a great group of 7 people. So it's Mark, Shachis, Harman, Chris, Pravin, Aditya, and myself. And 2 of us are only Dutch. Others are from different countries. One of us not in the Netherlands now, but in a very different time zone in India. Many people are from IT, and all other different industries. So we have consulting, we have FMCG, we have transportation, agriculture, and IT companies. We aligned on what we think is important for all of us in this education. So first of all, it is about expanding the knowledge or broaden the knowledge to go to the next level, to frame the knowledge. And another thing which is very important for us is, of course, networking. So to meet 100 people, more than 100 people, is very exciting and as well very useful for our next steps.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being willing to. Was it difficult to pick you as the team leader? Did you just jump right in and take it, or were you voted in? How did it work?
I did. I started to write because for me it was very interesting to understand who are in the room and from where. So I thought it will be great to remember.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing. How about team number 2? Team number 2.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. Hi.
Our team. My name is Tuan. I was in the same group as the 6 other colleagues with Remco, Marina, Derek, Wendy, Sabine, and Yuri. 5 of us, we work in the Netherlands. And Wendy is from Belgium, and Sabine currently is in London. And we have different kind of backgrounds. One is Remco, for example, is a medical doctor. He's currently on call, so he could be called away anytime. And we have Marina, who works for Danone. She's from Russia, but works in Utrecht. And Derek is work for a company called Tejan Aramid. And it's a company that based in Zwolle and that makes things like bulletproof hats. And Wendy is from work in the tourism. And Sabina is work as a commercial executive for a footwear brand, a luxury footwear brand. And Yuri works for Shell. And I myself work for Konica Minolta. And what brings us to the MBA, I think we have many things in common, and that is to learn more about to learn some skills and learn more about the business, and also learn about the leadership. And another important aspect is that we also learned about the sustainability of running a business. And that is in all what we discussed about.
It's fantastic. Thank you. And how about you? Did you just volunteer yourself, or were you voted as the leader? How did the decision-making process go in your team for who was going to be the team leader?
Yeah, I said I had my note already open. And so I just finished my work, so I had my note readily open. So I asked if someone else, if they're ready or not, then if I'm ready to do it. So if no one else volunteered, then I would do it. So, and also another reason is, so when I write things down, then things tends to stick better in my mind. So then I remember who I've been talking to. So
I'm the same way. I'm writing down my notes as each of you are speaking, so I completely understand that. Tuan, thank you so much for sharing.
I think two of our fellow students, they might need they just finished the interview yesterday or today, so that needs some encouragement to join the program.
That's it. Yes, I know one of them. I actually interviewed that person myself, not but like an hour and a half, 2 hours ago. So I know exactly who you're talking about, actually. Thank you, Tuan, for sharing. Let's go team 7. Who was the appointed note taker? Introduce yourself and tell us about your team, please.
The only thing I didn't take notes on is which team I was in. So I don't know if it was my group or not.
Let me look, hold on. I can tell you,
At least not team 7. I think I'm team 7. Hi, good evening, everybody. I was mute. I welcome everybody. About my team, we were four male participants and 3 female participants. They come from different parts of the world. One comes from States. The rest, I think, are from Netherlands as of now. They have a completely different background. Many of them, one of them is semiconductor industry. Some come from the marketing industry, metal recovering plant industry, banking, aviation industry. There are lawyers, and there are also people from advertising agencies. So it's a completely wide field, how I look at it. And why they would like to do MBA is basically to have better leadership skills. They want to broaden their skills in terms of finance, in terms of knowing other business parts, which they have not done so far. We also want to learn from each other. And because we are all from different culture, different background, different businesses, different experiences. So we also want to learn from each other. And at the end, make a impact to this community, to this world, see the bigger picture and try to contribute to this society and make this world a better place. That's why we would like to join MBA.
It's interesting.
Now I would like to take names of my participants. I missed it. Please. So it is Vijayendra, Yannick, Sinisha, Yubo, Kadisha, Arnaud, Alex from US, and Marilyn.
It's I'll expect you to remember everyone's names by the end of the session. So be sure to commit those to memory. And it's interesting now that we've had 4 teams share. You start to see some common themes about why people do an MBA. I mean, of course, everyone's reason is unique to them, right? But it's nice to know that there are people that have similar, approaches and things they're looking to get out of the program. So thank you so much for sharing. David, I had a chance to look. You were actually in team 3. So you can represent team 3 if I'm not mistaken. So if you were the leader of that group, take yourself back off mute and tell us about team 3 and who was in the group today.
Great, thanks. So I'll just go through one by one, starting with myself. It's like the others, a very diverse group, a very interesting mix of people. My name is David. I'm a director of Delve Advisory. It's my startup, which I started a few weeks ago, focusing on political risk and due diligence work. My interest in doing an MBA is to have a business academic background to help strengthen the startup. We also had Patrick. He's a consultant at CGI. He has a background in IT, and he wants to do the executive MBA to combine the IT with business understandings. Next, we had Goran Mittal. He works for Kraft Heinz in IT, and he's interested in doing the MBA for the experience and the journey. And excuse my handwriting, it's very bad. I hope I got everything correct. We have Moina. She works in the maritime industry, and she's interested in having some tools to change the yachting industry in a more sustainable way. And then there's Mohammed. He works for a subsidiary of Daimler called Athlon. And he's looking to combine the academic insights into his day-to-day work. And last but not least, we have Jean-Paul. He works for a shipping supplier group. And the reason for doing an MBA is he's aware of there being changes in the executive in his company, and he's ready to take the next step in his career. And he thinks the MBA will really boost his chances to join the executive.
That's great. And congratulations to you and best of luck on your sort of entrepreneurial journey as well. So I think it's also
Thank you.
A good time. You'll have a lot of people around you who I'm sure over the duration of the program will be a really valuable resource for you as you sort of continue down the path on that journey. So all the best and the best of luck to you on that endeavor as well. So
thank you.
Let's see here. How about team? Well, we have to do team one, right? I mean, let's do team one. Please introduce yourself and tell us about team one, please.
Brendan, I'm not sure. My name is Junju. I'm not sure if we are in the team one. I think so.
You indeed are team one. Yes.
Well, thank you. It's really a diverse group, and we have a laser physicist, Dhirendra, who is currently in India, and he's ready to jump to more facing direct customer, embracing more on the corporate side, and also potentially to expand application base of the company's business. So he's really looking forward into that prospect. And we have Katerina. She is under the in-house content and marketing of a news media on advertising, generating revenue. And as far as I can tell, she's a mastermind of the people's skill and how to invoke the emotions, and also very good at storytelling. So I'm sure we can learn a lot from her background. We have Jacob, who is an IT consultant. And the funny thing about Jacob is the main reason for him to start EMBA is to have enormous people interactions on the group manner. That's basically what it is. And we have Oliver, who is a trader and a sales manager for petrochemical and specializing in the plastics trading part. And he is very much like to bring the innovation and the digitalization for the work process that he has been involved for so many years, but he wants to effect change basically to about the way doing business. And we have Inshakna. I know I pronounced the name wrongly, but he's in a mechanical background. And then I consider him as like a magician in the background for all the manufacturing sector, who is making sure the system actually works and the things come together on the manufacturing process. And he wants to have a more of a leadership role, more apparent in where he works and also leading the team. And that's a very direct drive from him. And the last is myself, Junju. I work in the offshore energy sector, and then mostly, personally, I'm involved in the project management side, working on the offshore installation to propose and also to do the full EPC cycle of the project. And I want to start the EMBA because I see a really substantial benefits from the friends that I know and who is doing EMBA or has been finished EMBA to increase your knowledge base and also advance to your own personal goal. And I want to become more of the area management role from the project management focus. So that's my reason to start the MBA.
Thank you so much for sharing and for sharing that of the rest of your team. I'd like to point out that all of these teams were randomly chosen by me. I mean, I did not have any, I wasn't looking at backgrounds to see who was where. It was literally just click one from the top, one from the middle, one from the bottom, and repeat. So completely random teams, but what isn't random is the fact there's so much diversity within each team. And that's something that I think is very special about our program. I think we have enough time for maybe two more. And if I don't call on your team, it's not because I don't think you're interesting, but I also want to make sure that we finish our presentation on time for everyone today. So let's see here. We've done 1, 2, 3. Let's do team 8. And if you don't know your team, I can tell you who is in team 8, unless team 8 knows. Does the leader of team 8 know who?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Amit, hello.
Hi, this is Amit. So I'll be short, not to take a lot of time. So as what you mentioned previously, diversity is something that echoes in our team too. So my name is Amit. I'm happy to represent a group of about 9 individuals, all men, but coming from at least 8 different locations, 8 different nationalities. A lot of us have had work in several different countries, 2 or 3 countries at least. Various backgrounds from oil and gas to technology, IT, pharmaceuticals, even personal cell phone businesses. So quite diverse their background. And again, the general theme of why an MBA is the same. It's about leadership, specifically in some cases finance, sales knowledge, learning, of course, theory about finance, marketing, and so on and so forth. I'm going to quickly run through the names. It's Hamid, Marco, Ugo, Stefan, James, Zhang, and Brijesh, if I got the names right.
Trust me, you'll know by the end of the program. And there is kind of a running joke with the program director on, because at graduation, she's tasked with reading the names of not only the EMBA students, but also the full-time MBA graduates. So that's about, when you add them all up, almost 300 people that graduate in one day. And she's tasked with making sure she pronounces everyone's full name correctly, which she puts a lot of practice into. So it will take a little time, but I'm sure by the end of the program, you'll have everyone's name down, no problem. So
I will do my best too.
Yeah, because I've sat through your practice sessions, and you do admirably well. Absolutely. So just a small little behind the scenes thing there. Okay, maybe one more team. Let's do team 6. I don't think I've called on team 6, if I'm not mistaken. So if team 6 is in the room, can you take yourself off?
Hi, Brandon. Yes.
Yes, perfect. Hey, Melina, how are you?
Hi. Hi, Brandon. Thanks. Very excited to be here, and very happy to represent my team. Shout out to my classmates, Mark, Tanya, Kunle, Sergi, Yasushi, and Chung Guang, sorry. I'm sure I'll learn how to pronounce your name correctly going forward. So we made up room 6 today. Brandon, you did a great job at mixing us up, because we're really a very diverse team like the other groups. Indicatively, we came from Japan, China, the UK, Netherlands, Serbia, Turkey, Spain, and Greece. We came from all kinds of industries: telecoms, energy, processing, IT, chemicals, IoT, Internet of Things. So very, very exciting. Nearly all of us said that this is the right timing to do an MBA. This is a long cherished wish. We've always been thinking about it, and that it's now or never. So nearly everybody was sure that the timing is perfect. And on the reasons why we're doing the MBA, again, a very diverse list of reasons. One said that they're too comfortable in their job and that they need a new intellectual challenge. A lot of us said that we really want to level up our skills in various different areas of the business: finance, marketing. We want to learn how to speak the language of our colleagues in different departments. Sustainability came up as an area of interest. We want to get a helicopter view of the business. We want to get a global perspective. And one of us even said that they want to start their own company. So I think that's very admirable, actually. And we also said that we really want to meet people, and given the circumstances and given the year has been a very lonely and isolated year, it's great to have an opportunity to meet with other people in this way. So that's the profile of our group.
Well, thank you so much for being willing to be the team leader and to share. I have to ask you as well, were you voted or did you just go in and just grab it to be the team leader?
I'm a lawyer in training. I'm trained to represent. I'm trained to represent, defend people, and stand up for a group. So I did volunteer. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for doing so. And for those, I think there were 2 groups left. Actually, we're okay on time. I think we'll go ahead and bring the other 2 groups in because I think it's important for everyone to have a voice here. I think the teams I'm missing are Team 5. So if Team 5, if you're here, please say hello, because I don't think I've called on you yet. Leon, hello?
No, definitely not. We didn't elect a chairman, by the way. So.
Oh, okay. Love it. All right, go for it.
Go for it. But yeah, given my legal background, I take notes. So yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, I would love to say that we didn't have a diverse group with different backgrounds, but that is just what it is. We have Erwin, Priscilla, Peter, Bas, Young-Soo, Manson, and Leon, myself. Yeah, different backgrounds. In a real estate company as a consultant, an internal audit manager at the Japan International Tobacco. Peter's working at an IT company, team leader for software developers. We have a soldier in the group, which is really good. So we are the strongest group by far. And the funny thing is he wants to do a career change, which is interesting, and which is also, I think, an MBA is an enabler for such a career change for sure. We have an entrepreneur connecting the Chinese companies with Dutch companies for investments. We have Jansen working in the manufacturing industries as an engineer, and myself have a legal background working for a storage company. To avoid repetition, it's more or less the same why people willing to do an MBA, expand their horizon, do a career change, get to the next level, and I think just find a hobby on the Saturday, on a bi-weekly basis. I think that's also, but in the end, it's mainly about 50% is content and 50% is getting the connections, which is really important because in 10 years time, hopefully we're all somewhere a little bit higher up the chain. So it's really good to have those connections throughout different industries.
Oh, absolutely. And, and the longer, and An and I are prime examples of this, An and I both having done the same program, that the connections that you build can help your career in ways that, you won't necessarily even consider as we sit here this evening. So, thank you so much for being willing to share that. I'll ask you if the EMBA feels like a hobby in about 8 months. We'll see what your answer is then. I think the last team, if I'm not mistaken, is room or team number 10. And I'll ask if that's true, can the representative from or the only group that probably hasn't presented, go ahead and introduce yourself and introduce your team.
Hey, yes, it's our team 10. So we were a group of 7 people, and it was pretty diverse, gender-wise and background-wise. So it is a pretty diverse group. Let me state the names. It's Srikant, then Leonor, then Jane, Iris, Vivian, then Chanchal, and myself, Arihant. So we were the group of 7 people. Everyone is from different background. Someone is from fintech, someone is from IT, production manager in supply chain department, productivity manager, in development manager. So everyone is from, it is a diverse group from the different industry. So it's really good. And the reason for doing MBA, like we most agreed that so I have made a order. So first priority is always the career progression, and the second one being the leadership, followed by learning and the networking. These are the 4 topmost priority for each one of those. So this is pretty much it. I don't want to take too much time.
No, you're fine. It's always tough to be last because you're like, well, yeah, us too. We thought that. So thank you for sharing, and I'm glad that we were able to bring in. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that I have brought in all of the teams. Is there any room/teams which is not presented yet? If so, go ahead and take yourself off mute. But I'm pretty sure I got everybody. Give it just a second. Okay, I can count to 10. Good deal. Okay. So that's who we are to date, right? Because there's still people that we're speaking to. People are still registering every day. So this group will only become more diverse than it already is. And if you've been on any of our open days or open day sessions, I typically open up with how diverse the class is. And I think, if you didn't believe me before, you can definitely look at who we have assembled here on the call today. And this is a pretty diverse group and something that we're extremely proud of. And I think the team does a really good job with, really helping to ensure that we have not only high quality people that are joining us, but also from diverse backgrounds and diverse industries. So thank you all so much for being willing to share about yourselves. It's the first step in the journey, so to speak. So we have about 15 minutes left, about 10 minutes left. I want to share some updates or some program information as we kind of come down the home stretch here. Ahead of this, we had some questions from people asking, just on different parts of the program. So that's sort of what we're building this last little section off of. So the first thing is we will be, for the start of the program, we will be at Pathé in the center of the city. Which is the one not too far away from Central Station. This is for 2 reasons. One, because we wanted to have a space that was big enough for the entire group to be able to participate and to interact. We also really like the IT facilities and the presentation facilities. The open week itself is content-wise is relatively unchanged. So you're still going to have Nicola come speak to you again. You'll get more opportunities to learn from your teams. So the open week itself is still going to be the same. It's just that we've changed the venue, so to speak. After the start week, we are back on campus, and we are conducting the courses and everything else on campus like always. So it's just for the start week, we're going to be at Pathé. So you get to tell people that you started your program off in a pretty cool movie theater. So I'm pretty sure we can probably maybe finagle some popcorn or some things of that nature. Maybe, I don't know. And Anne's probably killing me now for ad-libbing. So, but we're going to be at Pathé. So much of the program has remained the same. And that was one of the big questions is, well, what's different? What's the same? And I think the key to remember is that everything we do is planned to do 2 things. One is to maximize your experience. And the second thing, especially given the current situation, is to make sure we maintain the safety of students, staff, and faculty. So when Ann and her team meets, which they do frequently, to look at the experience, to look at how we do things, those are the things that we keep in mind. And so you've heard us mention it a couple of times during today's program, some of it being from us, and Nicola mentioned it as well, but also some of the things that your group said as you were sharing some of the information back is about the interaction amongst one another. So the class interaction is a major driver of the EMBA experience. It's something that I think, Leon, you mentioned, 10 years after the program, really the relationships that you develop, while the knowledge will still be there, it's the relationships you develop. And so that's why for us, it's been very key to make sure that we're able to host you all on campus in a way that is safe and everything else. So the classrooms are large enough for social distancing. We do provide you masks should you want to wear them in the classroom. They're not required once you sit, but if you're in the common areas, we do ask for the time being, as we're still underneath COVID sort of regulations, we'll provide you some masks. We also have disposable masks available there as well, should you need them. But the classrooms are large enough for social distancing, which I think is really key, so that you can learn in a safe environment, but you still have the opportunities to see each other and to network and to do everything else. A big question is actually around catering. If you've done any of our open days, depending on when you started considering RSM, if you came to campus, you might have joined us for dinner. one evening. We still will be feeding you. Don't worry. That's probably one of the biggest questions we get asked. We won't be doing a buffet. However, we will be doing individual boxed dinner and lunch and things of that nature. So you will still be fed. We'll also make sure that we have coffee and tea and snacks and everything in between the classes, because of course, that's really critical to make sure that you have the fuel that you need to be able to, to get through the day. One thing we do know is that there are a few professors who are still unable to travel. And so we've looked at a lot of different ways to sort of to make these arrangements. And what we've worked on is for economics and for finance, we know that right now those faculty are based in Canada and South Africa. So, and this is something and an approach that we've taken this year as well, is to beam the professors into the classroom. We have everything set up with the proper IT. We have microphones throughout the room. We've invested heavily to make sure that we have the proper camera equipment and everything else from an audio-visual perspective. And we beam the faculty in for those courses. Of course, if things change, they are committed and have guaranteed us that once they are allowed to travel, they want to travel. But we did not want to do an online variant. So that's why we wanted to be able to bring everyone into the classroom and to beam the professors in. We have IT staff there to ensure that there's no issues. They're there in the room to start off the program or to start off the class. They're also available online to monitor to make sure there are no issues. It's something that we've done this year because we've had to, and we've learned a lot, and has actually worked pretty well. As I mentioned, yeah, so we invested in the IT infrastructure and staffing. I see some questions coming in chat. I'll get to them in just a moment. We're confirming how we approach virtual classrooms for those outside of the Netherlands, as well as for those people who maybe are feeling unwell or unable to be in the classroom. We will come back to you shortly with that. I know Anna and her team are working with the IT department and looking at logistics to figure out how and what we need to do to sort of take a decision on how we're going to approach that. Because I know there's some questions coming in saying, will an online class be an option, or do we have to be present in the classroom? The preferred option always is to have people in the classroom, because again, the experience is critical to have the people in the classroom. We know that perhaps for some people who are living outside of the Netherlands, that can be a challenge. But for those people who are able to travel to the classroom, we really want to ensure that that people are there. I'm just seeing if there's, that was a question from Yubo, and I think from Sashi as well. So hold on here. Should we stay back at nights and this first week? So there's a question here saying, should we stay in Rotterdam during the week, or can we travel back to our places every evening? That's completely up to you, I would say. And on, if any of these questions, if you want to jump in, feel free. You don't have to. I think I can cover them, but just in case. I would say, you might want to consider staying a few nights in Rotterdam, if for no other reason than just the ability to network and to be with people. I wouldn't say that that's a requirement, but you also might have some long days where you're feeling really tired. And depending on how far away you live from Rotterdam, I think traditionally most people tend to stay, but that's not a requirement. So let's see here. Yeah, so Ann is saying the Novotel is still the best hotel to book. Yes. Other questions? It's mentioned there's a discount code for making a booking for January. Discount code for the Novotel. Yes, that is true. And I believe, Ann, if you want to come in and help me out with that one, because that one I'm not, or Alina for that matter, as far as any booking codes for the Novotel.
I think actually the program team, either Carol or Sonia, will know this actually best, because they're the ones that communicate this to the class. We just renewed the contract, so yes, that will be the case to continue on for next year. Sonia or Carol, do you know the exact thing, the exact percentages? If not,
it's if I don't know if Sonia wants to say this, but there's I believe a 12% discount on the normal rate. There is a link that we're still waiting on. I have already posted some information on this in the general Canvas. So when you sign up in your Canvas, there's the general Canvas, and that information is already posted.
Cool. Thank you for that.
Somebody's asking me about the schedule for 21. It's as finalized as it can be under these conditions. I think that's the best thing that I can say for now. We don't intend to make many more changes. But we have to be lean and agile in this pandemic world, and that's the best we can do for now.
Yeah. There's a question here about pre-program work on accounting and statistics. Is that something we have to finish before we start the program?
Yes. Correct.
Please.
Ideally, yes, because it gives you a baseline to make sure that we can kind of start with a level playing field as much as possible.
Yep. Yeah. So maybe spend some time over the holidays when you're not hanging out with family, trying to do that. So. And of course, we're available for other questions. And I did add this in late, and it's misspelled just because I added it in so fast. So I apologize for the unprofessional. But I was told from the programs team that bribery is accepted. It can be chocolate. Someone said whiskey. Actually, I'm kidding, but I told them that I would add that in there. Bribery is not accepted, but I figured I would end it on something fun. So there's a question here. Yes, if you haven't yet received your pre-work, it will be coming. Do not worry. So I'm looking at Isabel for that. So for those of you who are asking, what is it? It will be coming to you, I promise. So it will be very soon. Will be in your inbox from that. So timing-wise, we're pretty much at time. First off, I'd like to thank each one of you for joining us and for taking time out of your evening. Doing an MBA is an incredibly important and challenging decision. And I think it's important to see who you're going to be sharing the classroom with, because it is a shared experience from the first day to the last day and beyond. It is a shared experience. I can speak from personal experience on that. I wish, that I had the opportunity to meet the people that I was going to be joining before I did, because I think it means when you come in on the first day of class, you're not seeing 100 plus strangers. You're seeing people. Oh, I remember seeing you from that session, or oh, I remember you were the person who worked at F1 or worked here or worked there. So that's one thing. I'd also like to thank the programs team, also the marketing and admissions team for their work in preparation for tonight. The programs team also and their work that's ongoing as we speak in preparation to make sure that we are ready to host you all come late January next year. We're incredibly excited, and the program, I've had a chance to see kind of behind the scenes. I'm really excited for the things that you're going to get to experience over the time that you have with us. A quick thank you to Lita, Vasilis, and Noemi for, I think, working tirelessly this time of year to be available for all of you, to answer your questions, to help you get over the finish line, so to speak, in the admissions process. They take what they do very seriously, and they value the interaction that they have with each one of you. So hopefully, as candidates or registered students, you sort of have seen that as well. So it's going to be exciting. There's going to be all kinds of stuff going on. There'll be days where you're on top of the world, and there'll be days where you hate your life. That's just the way doing an MBA goes. I think at the end of it all, you have more good days than you do days where you wish you threw your laptop out the window. But it will change you in ways that you can't even imagine yet. And I'm very excited to welcome you all to the start of the program early next year. If you have any questions, you will be able to email Lita. You can contact Noemi, Vasilis, myself. We're all available for any questions that you might have. If we have, or as we have any additional updates, we will absolutely share them with you as quickly as we can, but things are getting pretty close to being concrete and final, as An said, as much as they can be under coronavirus conditions. However, we feel very confident with the program that we've developed and everything else. Any tip for the days when we feel that we want to throw our laptop out the window? Close the window first and then throw it, because that way maybe it will go out the window. Take a deep breath and remember. Oh, An has one. Yeah, go ahead. I see a hand raised.
I say this at the beginning of the program in January. Generally, don't suffer in silence. Yep. Please reach out to us. We have been privileged to guide a lot of peers of yours through this program. We know what it's like. Some of us have done a program. Please talk to us. Reach out to us whenever you think you have an issue. Please let us know. That's what we're there for also. We are your guides in this. So obviously talk to your peers, but definitely reach out to the program office.
Yeah. One last thing on, there's two questions that are the same around study trips around South Africa. We spoke about this earlier today. I know it's difficult to say, but I think you did have some thoughts on that. Go ahead.
So we're currently evaluating what our best options are, and it's incredibly difficult to look into the future as far away as June. We are going to make some decisions early next year on what we do with that study tour. It wouldn't be the first time that we would have to move the timing of that study tour, but we're fairly confident that we will be able to make it happen. Yet this is given the conditions that we are currently in. So we will make sure that we make those decisions on time. That means that you also have the best possible chance to book your flights and to arrange for travel. And we need to get approval from the exam boards in terms of what other solutions that we can offer for those, for instance, that may not be comfortable in flying in these distances. So there's a lot of work that we're still doing. Unclear to say for the moment, but in January, we'll start communicating about that.
Great. That's fair. Well, listen, thank you all so much. We are at time, but we are always available. So please let us know if you have any questions. Enjoy the holidays. I know it's kind of a race to the end of the year, so hopefully you have a moment to pause and reflect over 2020, to prepare for 2021, to spend time with friends, family, and loved ones. And we will look forward to welcome you with open arms at a 1.5 meter distance, I suppose. I normally would say open arms, so we will be ready to welcome you come next January. Thank you all so much and have a great evening. Good night.